you know.
And we're live.
Oh my goodness, it's Monday again. Jesus.
Mondays are not my friend, Daphne.
I know for people who don't have like traditional jobs, why is Monday still a thing?
I don't know, but it really is. I swear to God, it's I feel the lag.
It's like, I don't know. Is it because it's like we've gotten into this pattern with the weekend, weekend, and then it's like even when we work from home, and technically there is no week nor weekend. There isn't even business hours. Mondays still suck.
They do. And on that note, it is Monday. It is August 29th, 2022. And you are watching the Ragin to the vlogs. And we have this intro and we'll be right back.
Yay.
Returns to Kickstarter in its first trade paperback, collecting issues 1 through 4 in one full-color volume. Eager Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, is the story of a unicorn princess exiled into the mortal realm after she is betrayed by her elf prince husband-to-be. Dragons overtake her kingdom, and how she trains to become a knight with the help of an unusual trio of blacksmiths. It's a mature audience telling of the classic hero's journey with a soap opera twist, so check out Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, Volume 1 today.
Ta-da!
Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's like, in spite of how we started the show, it's like, it is Monday, in the end, it's just another day. We just, I guess, woke up on the wrong side of the bed or whatever. So I don't know.
We grumpy. We
I know.
We trolling.
I know. It's like, so welcome everybody to another episode of, what are we? Rage into the vlog show. So who's in the chat today? Who's joining us?
So far we got Jody McPhee, Mr. Tanner.
Oh, very nice. Hello.
Carl Litzman, Donna. Hello, Donna. Marvie and Nick joined us. Hello, Nicholas.
Hello. Yes, and welcome to the very lucky 13 people next to the eyeball on the screen in front of me. Yeah, so thank you. Wow. Thank you everybody for coming, joining us from regions beyond. Hello, my name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. Hello. And where's my branding here? Oh, here we go. Okay. I've been self-publishing comics since 1992, and I am known for the funny animal fantasy adventure Tall Tales. Or for those of you who need me to be more specific, this is my furry comic.
Furry.
This is my furry comic. And also, I am known for my medieval fantasy soap opera drama, Eager Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which is also partially furry. You had to be there. Which is currently on Kickstarter, a project we love. I just announced a 100 backer gold giveaway, so make sure you check out the link in the show notes below to find out what that is on the Kickstarter site. So thank you very much for everybody who supported the campaign so far. But in the meantime, you can read both my comics online at Tall Tales, TAILS online.com, and egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. And you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics on YouTube here at Daphne Lage Art, Lage, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. So make sure you like, you subscribe, you hit the notification bell, you hit all the thumbs up there, do everything, for
Press
the
all our
algorithm.
buttons.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that shit.
Actually, look, I just want to thank everybody for whatever it is that you're doing. My last live stream is doing some numbers I have never seen before. So thank you so much for everybody who's watching my last live stream. Usually my videos are do like maybe 30 views or something or whatnot. Last I checked, my last live stream where I was just preparing some, inking for, trying to get these pages to my flatters. 200 and something views.
I know, it's wild.
I know, right? I mean, it's
all
like,
the views are going up though. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, so I just
want in and watch our shit.
Yeah, I know, right? So I just want to thank everybody for doing that. But again, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time we go live on either of our channels. So, and Nita, take it away.
Yes. Good morning. My name is Nita. I am CEO of Ragin 2 Promotions, the parent company that brings you the Indie Comics Network on YouTube.
Company.
I know, right? And it also brings you Indie Comics Promotions on Facebook. I'm a writer, vlogger, blogger from Southeast Louisiana, and that's me. Woohoo!
Yeah, really.
And remember, it is Monday, so immediately following the vlogs at 12:30, we will be running an issue of Indie Rush, which is going to highlight some crowdfunds for this week. It's very short this week, 6 minutes.
Right.
I mean, it was like, let's get it done. We were so tired last night. But yeah, that's coming up. And also at 11:30, we have a special guest joining us, Mr. Dojo Kun.
Oh, yes. He's returning to talk about my favorite titled comic, Projectile Reptile. I mean, really, it's like, so he's going to be coming on later to talk about the campaign. Last time he was on, it was just in pre-launch, but now we can actually talk about the campaign. It is live right now. Again, links are in the show notes, but so let's see. So do we have any housekeeping?
I got a little bit of housekeeping coming up. Okay, so let's see. We got Snowpaw is in the sign-up phase on Kickstarter. Rob Multari's campaign. Of course, everything that I've been talking about will be in the show notes. Mm-hmm. Okay, we got the prequel for Sister Mercy, Hope and Sin. This is an adults-only erotica, and it is hot, so fucking check it out. Also, today, jumping from one extreme to the other, this all ages adventure, The Misadventurers, is available on Kickstarter. Today is the last day of this D&D style campaign. Really suggest you get over there and check it out. Not only is the campaign great, the people running it are fucking awesome. Uh-huh. So, hit it up.
There you go. Yeah.
And mail all your shit in Gemini mailers because nobody wants damaged books. Use
that's true. Yes.
Code Ragin2. My point made. Ragin2. Gemini. Do it.
Right. Okay. There you go. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
I sum it up. I'm not as good as you.
This shit. Yeah, exactly. That's what it boils down to. If only selling comics and pushing Kickstarters were that easy, right? I mean, it's like so a lot of things. So I don't know. I just have like a lot of things in my head right now, and it's like it's kind of hard to think about what exactly to go first. So it's like so right now my Kickstarter is, like I said, Eagle Raven is on Kickstarter. But yes, exactly. The unexpected scalies. Yes, it is. I know, right? Yes, Snowpaw is awesome. So
absolutely.
Make sure you support that when that comes out.
Interior art from Game of Thrones artist Mom Clark.
You see, we have something for everybody here. Look at that. You like the sexy nuns. You like the scalies. You like the werewolf furries. We got them all here. Now here's the thing. Oh, and the washi tape. Yes, exactly. You see, and that's the thing too, right? It's like, so here we are. We already seen examples of three people with three pretty, distinctive tastes, in what they're into, or sometimes they overlap. And the thing is, though, it's like, so here I am with my Kickstarter, and I'm going through the whole emotional roller coaster that is running a Kickstarter. That space, that you see, we have everything.
I got you, Tanner.
And that's the thing. It's like I'm going through right now the emotional roller coaster of doing a campaign, and what's funny is that sometimes it feels like having a semi-successful Kickstarter, because I don't want to say anything is successful until it's finished.
Right. No,
sure. It's like I don't want to, but sometimes having a semi-successful Kickstarter can be just as, I don't know, it can be probably like just as, I don't know, emotionally upheavaling, if that's a word, as a Kickstarter that's not doing well. Right. I mean, it just seems like there is no in between when it comes to running a Kickstarter. It's like either you're doing good or you're doing bad, and either way, you're going through the same BS in your head over it.
Right.
And the thing is that like one of the things that I can't help but think about, and I'm sure a lot of people have this whole thing, is the whole trying to find your audience, and how do you know you're targeting the right people,
right?
It's just that's kind of, I mean, we were talking about the other week about you get a mailing list together, you go to conventions, you try to feel everybody out or whatnot, but it's just like, I don't know, it's just kind of like, sometimes I guess it's like what it is I'm saying is that sometimes you have to realize, like, you think your demographic is one thing, and or you think that a certain section of your demographic is viable,
right?
And then it's like you kind of realize maybe they're not, it's like that maybe it's like I'm trying to like push a book on people who don't really care about this. Yeah, it is. Yeah, finding your niche is incredibly difficult. And that's part of the thing. It's like, like the thing that my Kickstarter, like right now I'm doing 100 backer like giveaway where, actually, let me see if I can I reach it? Here. So, where if the when the campaign, I don't want to say ish, when the campaign, let's stay positive about this, right? So when the campaign for Eager Raven Volume 1 hits 100 backers,
why not both?
Right? Yeah, exactly. Everyone with a physical pledge is going to get this sticker. So at 100 backers on the campaign, once we hit 100 backers, it unlocks this sticker for I gotta figure out something to do with what to do with all the digital pledges, though. I always kind of feel bad leaving them out, but I don't know. I'll think of something. I think that
we'll a coloring page of the stickers.
Something, yeah, exactly. Maybe I'll do something.
But then do that for the physicals too.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So it's like no matter what, the physical pledges are always going to get kind of priority over the digital pledges. Although I thank everybody who who pledged for the PDFs. I mean, it's like I'm going to try to figure out something to send everybody as a extra thank you for that. But that's I mean, I'm just going by how Kickstarter seems to function. Oh yeah, and it's harder with people who will talk about your work, or often people who don't buy it. So screening the content, it is true. It's like the old gag that, well, I don't know if it's an old gag, but it's like, when, like people who say, it's like they make an image and they go, oh, I'm thinking of putting this on a t-shirt, or I'm thinking of making this a print. Would you guys support it? And everyone is like, yeah,
do it.
And then the second you do it and you put down the money on those prints, it's like 2 people buy it. I mean, it's like, and, and that, I don't know, that's kind of the reality of the thing, but it's still very frustrating. Because it's like, because the thing is that it's like I want people to be excited for the work, but at the same time, because we live in a capitalist hellscape, I need people to buy the work too. I need people to do that. It's like, because in the end, it's like we're not running Kickstarters, out of the goodness of our hearts. We really do want people to spend money on our work, so that will help us continue making more of these comics and writing more novels or whatnot. Hey, but it's like, but the thing is though, at what point, considering that, but the thing is though, at what point do you realize, what, these people that I'm targeting are actually not worth targeting? It's like, when it's like that's the thing. It's like, like how do we know, that it's like, or it's like,
I'm going to say something. It's going to be so incredibly sexist.
Okay.
So like,
send all your mail to
send all your fucking hate mail. Women pay attention. RaginABC@gmail.com, because bitch is about to hate me.
So
I was totally wanting to gear my content towards a gender neutral audience, male and female attention, so that, bring everybody over here, discuss the business, bring eyes on projects and whatever. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, the growth on the YouTube channel, we'd go into the demographics or whatever, and we had a small percentage of women, which I always knew we were the minority. It's been like that since I started role playing when I was 15 years old. Like, the first time I walked into a RPG shop, the place fucking froze, because it's like, oh my God, a girl just walked in here.
Right.
Which, by the way, guys, deodorant is an awesome thing to invest in.
Exactly.
But anyway, and we had that small percentage, and so I started like, okay, well, let's gear a little bit more towards the ladies. Come on, y'all. The bitches that were followers, they're gone now. We have a 100% male demographic.
Yeah, that was really strange to see. Yeah.
It's like, what? Oh, but I'm cool with it. Whatever. We love you guys. You've been freaking faithful since the early beginnings. Yeah. But it's like, I really thought, being women, we would draw more women into the industry, and the ones that came in peeped their head in the door and fucking took off running.
Right. Like, yeah, it was very strange. I mean, it's like, I was really surprised when you said, and you showed me the chart. It's like YouTube is literally saying 100% of our audience is the men's.
So thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much. We thank you very much for your support. Right. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Bitches be tripping, Daphne.
Right. So that was the thing that I was like, that I kind of wish Kickstarter would do, was because it's like, because on one hand, I know for a fact they collect that information, because they've sent me surveys to answer, demographic surveys to answer, but they won't allow me to collect that information. But at the same time, Kickstarter will not aggregate that information either. It's like, there's nothing, from what I can tell, that Kickstarter does that's similar to what YouTube does. Because when I was trying to figure out like how I was going to gear this campaign, right? So I was doing all this artwork, the whole like, okay, what if I did the main graphic for the Kickstarter a certain way? And I had this very strange conversation with JD.
Oh, I love this
because it's like, I'm showing him. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you. We try. So I'm showing him these images that I was going to use for the campaign, and he just looks straight up at one of them, right? It's the one called The Dance Lesson, where it's Daniel and Eagle Raven that he's teaching her how to dance, and he looks directly at that one and he goes, no. And I go, what do you mean no? Right? And he goes, and then he points to the Orchid and Eagle Raven one, not the one that's on the page now, but I'm going to switch it out to this one later on today. And he goes, that one. That's the one you have to have on your thing. But I go, but what's wrong with the other one? And he goes, it has a guy in it. No guy wants to look at another guy. Do the one, put up the one with the two women on it. And I go, but the pictures, they're pretty. I'm going for an aesthetic. And he goes, how many women do you know for a fact follow your campaigns, you read your book? And I had to stop. And I go, I don't know. I don't know for sure. You know, and he goes, I put money that most of the people who are buying your book are men, are all guys.
And they are. And we can do that just from looking at not only YouTube, but I was doing some delving into the Facebook and everything. We do have a following of females on Facebook.
Right.
However, they are a very, very small minority, less than 3%.
You know, and it's like, and I kind of had to stop there. And it's like, I was like, you know, because you know that meme that goes,
but you're right.
What? It's like, you know, yeah, that's exactly how I felt, because it's like, wait a minute, I don't know for sure. You know, it's like, it's like I have a suspicion that Eagle Raven has a predominantly male audience, but it's like, but I don't know by how much.
Right.
You know, so it's like, so in the end, it's like, what am I doing? You know? So that's kind of the funny thing. So like in this case, you know, if we're talking like very simply, you know, the guys versus girls in the World Series of comics, we're talking, you know, it's like I don't know for sure. Like, okay, so technically I should be catering my book more towards a male audience,
and we should cater everything we do towards the men, because obviously they're going to be the ones who are going to show the support, because you get women in business and women supporting women all you want, but at the end of the day, bitches don't back bitches.
Yeah. At least that, you know, that's the thing.
Just saying.
But the thing is, though, is that, but then it's like, then we start talking about, like, if we're talking about niches, it's like, could it be that it's like that we don't have this demographic parity because it's like we haven't found our exact niche yet? So, you know, it's like, so being gender neutral doesn't really mean anything if it's like, if we don't have anything to be neutral towards, kind of.
Right. This is true.
You know, I mean, it's like, you know, that's the thing. Like I said, it's like the whole male female demographic thing. It's like we're just using that as an example, as like a really direct example, because honestly, it's
because
like
it was so obvious,
right?
0% and 100%. It was like, holy shit.
You know, but then it's like, you know, and then that's the thing. But then it's like, you know, then it's like, okay, so now let's talk about niches. It's like, okay, it's like, do I cater this towards, you know, people? It's like to say that everybody who likes comics, that's way too broad of a spectrum. For sure. You know, so it's like, okay, so who's doing romance comics? Who's doing kind of like, you know, do I cater this towards manga people? Do I, you know, it's like, you know, our furries, it's like, is there enough furries in the book to actually interest furries? You know, it's like, where's the Monster Girl contingent? You know, yeah, it's like, why are certain demographics? It's find it weird. Yeah, it's like I don't, you see, that's the weird thing. It's like you would think, like, because I mean, we're constantly reading about how, you know, like the demographics for manga is a lot, you know, different and whatnot, or a lot more mixed. And yeah, so but like in terms of niche, so it's like, yeah, it's like the whole furry thing. Like I know Tall Tales, I can appeal to furries, but even then, that's kind of like a hard it's kind of like a hard sell too, because it's like, you know, I've been in furry fandom, you know, long enough to know that they're like micro niches in furry. I mean, technically, even at any genre has micro niches, but sometimes to like the detriment of everything. Like there are people who there are furries who will literally not pick up a book because it doesn't have their favorite animal as the main character. Right. I mean, that's how hyper specific they get, you know? Or it's like, it's like if you are known for, as a furry artist, is culture. Exactly. I had a very strange incident. I had a strange incident at an anime convention once that kind of, you know, points that out. So I'm selling Tall Tales at a furry convention, and I had this girl in a full-on bondage cat girl outfit come up to the table. Yeah, you would think, right? And she pokes at my book and she looks me dead in the face and she goes, I hate furries. You know?
What?
Yeah, it's like I hate furries, and I'm just
like
staring
in some man's
right,
basement.
exactly, and I'm like going, okay,
okay, girl.
you know, it's like, all right, and she's like, oh yeah, I hate furries, and it's like, all right, it's like, you know, you're in my face, it's like I'm like literally wanting to go. Did you look at yourself in the mirror? Like she's wearing cat ears, the whole thing, the tail, the whole, but oh, that's different, right? And then all of a sudden, she turns her head to the guy next to me. And she lets out this squeal, right? That's like, oh my God, you're my favorite artist. And then she like glomps onto the next table. You know who the fuck was sitting next to me?
Oh.
At the time, he was one of the main artists for the fucking Sonic the Hedgehog comic.
The Sonic, oh my God.
Right. I don't remember if it was
furry.
Like for Archie. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, and I'm watching her and she's doing this in all sincerity. She is watching, you know, she's like all over this guy. It's like how she's gushing, how she loves Sonic and this, that, and the other thing. And me and JD are like just watching this whole thing, just like going, did you just fucking see what I saw?
That's fucking great, though.
And it's like, really? It's like, you know, you hate furries, but Sonic is different. I'll put dollars to dimes. This artist has fucking has a Sonic furry porn in his portfolio somewhere. You know? But you hate furries. You know? But Sonic the Hedgehog is different. So yeah, so it's like, so the thing is though, it's like, okay, so how do you figure out your niche, you know, when this is kind of like the reaction
when your own niche doesn't understand you?
Right. Yeah.
That's really where it goes down to, because it's like people associate the word furry with fetish, and it's like, no. Right. Furry is a fandom that has a fetish within it, but so does anything can be a fetish.
It's like, you know what? It's like, look, it's like, you know what? It's like, even comics, it's like, look, it's like, I had a guy at my previous job ask me, have you ever done like naked Wonder Woman pictures? And I go, I can neither confirm nor deny that. You know, I said that as a joke, but yeah, no, for fucking real. You know, I mean, it's kind of like the first chance people at a comic book convention, at least back in the day, that if they could get a naked Wonder Woman picture from you, they would fucking ask for it and pay for it. So yeah, so don't tell me that furry is the only fandom with a fetish in it. Right. And also the thing is too, you know what I'm waiting for? Speaking of this, I have always heard the rumor that George Perez, one of his side hobbies, was getting all these cosplay girls to do fetish photography with him. Like especially if they were tied up and stuff. Right. And it's like, and that George Perez was really, really into that. And it's like, I'm kind of waiting for that sketchbook to finally come to surface. Because don't tell me he doesn't have. I mean, honestly, it was the type of thing, you know, where I kind of like, if he really came out and said that, I would be like, I completely believe that, dude. You know, it's like it wouldn't surprise me one bit, you know. But the thing is, though, for people to act like this niche is better than the other niche because it doesn't have this, like, no, it has it. You're just in denial about it.
My malls be hungry and thirsty.
Oh my goodness.
Will buy me some clothes.
Right? Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna send you my Amazon wish list. My malls be hungry. They need a snack.
Oh
Daphne,
my goodness.
Daphne.
Yes.
Guess who's here?
Oh, yes. So speaking of, I mean, and this is a comic that deals with a lot of different niches too. So we can, you know, so Dojo Kun is in the house. Okay. He's in the back.
True.
We're gonna run some bumps so I can vacuum a bit.
Clean this shit up.
And then we're gonna come right in and we're gonna talk about Projectile Reptile, because say that 3 times fast.
Not even gonna try.
I know.
Infamous gunslinger Desmond Gibbons, better known across the Wild West as the Cactus Kid, comes to the sleepy town of Clarkson. Trouble finds him in the unlikeliest of sources, the sheriff. After their conflict, the Cactus Kid finds himself inexplicably wearing the badge of a lawman. Later, While on the trail of a serial killer, he and his deputy run afoul of a powerful druid, and the events that lead to the Cactus Kid's transformation into the hulking, four-armed projectile reptile are even more than the druid bargained for. From the Wild West to current-day Los Angeles, where he meets superheroes Black Eagle and Red Hawk, and forms an uneasy alliance with the stunning but deadly Kitty Hawk. Join the Projectile Reptile on a journey of gunslinging druidic magic, superheroes, and artifacts. Projectile Reptile from Dojo-kun Comics, only on Indiegogo. Are you ready for the truly Wild West?
Yeah, all right.
There we go. Hello, sir.
Hey.
Welcome back.
So I was listening to you guys talking about the niche. And so since I was worried about niche comics, I just cover all of them.
You really do. You really do. I mean, it's like, that's why in the end, I felt that it was kind of like the perfect topic to segue, into your book. So before we get started, tell everybody who you are.
All right. So my real name is Brian. I've been publishing comics as Dojo-kun Comics since 2014. I have 12 books that I've published already. They're available on my website. And in 2020, I sort of joined this network of creator-owned comics. And in 2021, I gathered my first 4 comics called Siamese into a trade paperback. I crowdfunded that, funded in 3 days, and fulfilled on time. So I started out things. Sir. Yeah, I was gonna say, I started things on the right foot. Had a couple of missteps on 2 projects since then, but I used those missteps as lessons to apply to this campaign. And I think this one is a very clean campaign. One thing I will tell you, though, is I'm using the crowdfunding to get this book done. Because I am #just a writer, I need to hire artists, letterers, colorists, even an editor this time around. So, I do have some pages of interior art that are featured on the campaign page. But the vast majority of those need to be done with the help of the crowdfunding.
Right. Okay. And it's like, yeah, because it's like that seems to be with crowdfunding. It's like, it's kind of like, it kind of goes either all or one way or another,
right.
Where it's like you either have the book completely finished, which is the way I like to do it. But a lot of times
everybody can do everything, Daphne.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I know, really.
If I could draw and color and letter it, I would make sure it was all done.
Right, exactly, right. But then also it's like it's like a lot of people they need the campaigns to help fund the process together. I mean, and that's the thing too, because technically that's this kind of like the spirit of crowdfunding, where you're helping these projects go along. But so these lessons, so with your previous campaign, so what were the lessons that you learned for this one?
Sure. Yeah, I don't mind sharing that because, somebody else might take that lesson and not have to go through it to get
exactly.
to it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
All right,
or they'll do it anyway, because let me tell you something, man. We can talk to her blue in the face, and nobody ever wants to really listen.
But we'll say it anyway.
But we want to hear it so that we can turn around and say, "Well, bro, we told you so."
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So number 1, I had 2 campaigns going at once.
Ooh.
Don't do that.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Now, when you say 2 campaigns, but you had like 2 platforms, or you literally had 2 campaigns on the same platform?
Literally 2 campaigns on the same platform.
Wow. How'd you do that?
I had the Healing Wars, the Shifter, which we've talked about before on your show. And that was that award-winning novelist of a trilogy that allowed me to license her IP. Mm-hmm. And the other was called To'urou Tales, which was a anthology. So here are the things. Oh, thanks, Nick. Here are some things, about those. We'll start with the Healing Wars. The reason that one, I think, didn't make it is the goal was very high. And the reason the goal was high is because in addition to having to pay all the people I told you, I also had to pay a license to the author and her publishing company.
Okay.
So that made it a bit lofty. And I think that it was self-fulfilling. People would see that and they'd think, well, I don't know if he's going to make that goal, so I'll wait and see. And because they didn't back, I didn't make the goal. Right. So I'm going to have to re-strategize that. I don't want to give up on that because it's an exciting project. I got a lot of that art already paid for and done. So I don't want to let that go.
Sure.
And the author's excited about it. Her and her husband have been comic book fans for years, so she'd really like to see that happen. And I predict that someday someone might, from Hollywood might call her up and option that as a show, because if I had to liken that trilogy to anything else, I would say it's a lot like Hunger Games and Divergent.
Right.
So there's a chance that might get optioned. So I'd love to have that comic done before that happens.
Yeah. But that's not the reason why you did the book. I mean, you actually enjoyed it. If Hollywood comes knocking, that's an afterthought, you know.
Right, that'd just be a bonus later. I really did enjoy the story. I thought it would be great as a comic book adaptation. And the protagonist, Naya, she has the hero's journey, which I thought works out really well. So and it was going to be originally it was going to be 15 issues, 5 issues for each of the trilogy. But what I had done was I made it one graphic novel per novel. So it became, it was like 100 pages per. So that's why it became expensive. Right. And I think that's the reason that one didn't make it. The other one, the anthology, To'urou Tales, I'm sure you can tell by the way I'm saying it that most people said Toro Tales, but Toro is Spanish for bull.
Right.
To'urou is the stone lantern in my company's logo. So I had to explain that a lot, and therefore I think the name didn't resonate with people. The fact that it was difficult to pronounce, the fact that people didn't connect, the fact that the Toro was in my logo, and that's why Toro Tales made sense to me. Right. And then there was another thing, and that was the fact that it was an anthology. Not all anthologies are bad. I've seen some come from, your grouping of creators. But I also note that, like Graham Nolan did an anthology just recently. But here's the thing. He's got the name and the industry professional experience behind him. Whereas with me, the people who were doing my art and coloring, et cetera, were they were new to the community. So they were untested, unproven, and therefore it didn't have the same kind of, appeal necessarily. I did ask people names. Yeah. I did ask people, which of the stories in the anthology did you think looked good? So, those have legs and will probably reappear in another form somewhat soon. But now I'm focused on Projectile, Reptile, and then right after that, I'm already writing Siamese 2. So, I've refocused, and we're going to get these 2 done, and see where we stand after that.
Right. So at least, with the anthology, you actually got to play around a little bit with that whole demographic thing. Like like you said, which stories have the legs, or at least look like they have legs.
Exactly.
But again, it's like you're not going to really know for sure until you actually put them out and then realize that, everybody who said they were going to buy a print just buys the one. So with Projectile Reptile, so this is it. It's kind of like you said. It runs the whole, probably like all the niches, all the genres, right? So it starts off as a Western.
Yes, the Cactus Kid. He's an infamous gunslinger. Like the trailer said, he comes to town right away. He and the sheriff share words. They have a duel, and then later, he's wearing the badge of the lawman. He comes across a druid, and I'm not going to say what happens that leads to his transformation, but if we have a look at the webpage, we'll see the big reveal page. And the reason for that, I figure, people have seen what he looks like already, so it's okay to share the big reveal, just so that you see what the interior artist, how he does with the concept. I've got 3 covers on this one. Which you're scrolling through now, and I've got a great get right there. That's the limited edition hardcover by Shelby Robertson. This is the first time Shelby's work will be on a hardcover, so that's kind of a great feather in our cap.
So are you doing both a paperback and a hardcover?
Yes.
In the same wow. Okay.
So two of the versions of that cover will come out in soft cover or paperback, and then the Shelby Robertson cover will be hardcover only as a limited edition.
Oh, okay. It's like, because it's like I love that. I love the little TV. I love that. I don't know, because I was pricing out hardcovers recently, and it's like, do you feel like a hardcover is kind of like, not a safe thing to do, but do you think that there'll be enough interest in a hardcover to justify the difference in pricing, depending on how many?
Yes, based on my my success with Siamese and the number of hardcovers it sold there.
Okay, so you have
there
that. Okay.
There were 50 of them available, and all 50 sold out.
Oh, there you
Wow.
go. Okay, so at least you knew for sure that.
I mean, it was one of those things where it's like, maybe I should have had 75.
Right? Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
But
oh, look at that! Look at the 3D one, the acrylic. Can you go back up? I want to see the acrylic one. That one. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, the acrylic standee there will have the character in the base, like you would expect, and then on the back of the rectangular base, there will be a rectangular diorama, and you'll be able to actually slide the Western scene out and put a modern day Los Angeles scene in if you want to change.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, hell yeah, Brian.
Now,
that's
the thing
fucking
is,
cool.
though, now you're saying this is a stretch goal. Now, is this a stretch goal that everyone's going to get, or it just becomes an option in the add-ons?
So it will be a stretch goal, and if we reach it, everyone will get it.
Wow.
So
okay.
now I didn't put dollar amounts on here yet because I think it's one of those things where if you start going through them real quick at the beginning of your campaign, are they really stretch goals? So I'm waiting to see how the campaign does in the first few weeks. In fact, we're now halfway through. It's 15 days left on the first 30, and we're 50% funded. So, I mean, that's a pretty good pace in my opinion.
Right. Okay. Right. But I mean, because that's like, because JD told me make people earn their stretch goals. Stop giving stuff. He was telling me, stop giving away stuff for free. Make them earn it. So the little chibi one, that's the magnet, right? I think.
Yeah, the 6 a.m. one, just below, right there.
Right.
That one is a bonus for the first 100 backers of a physical tier. Obviously, if you get just the digital, I'm not sending you anything. So, but if you get a physical tier, that magnet will be included for free, just for being one of the first 100. The art you're looking at there is by Caius, the interior artist, and he did cover A. Cover A is the one that has Cactus Kid and Projectile Reptile split down the middle, which is an homage to an old Iron Man annual cover. It's one up. There you go. That one there is the homage to the Iron Man annual. That's by Caius, the interior artist.
That's really cool.
The second cover is by Renzo Rodriguez. And bringing back the gingers because they keep getting erased from everything, and no way. If you look closely, she's even got the requisite freckles on her face and her tits.
I know. Right? Everyone's afraid of redheads for some reason.
Redheads are hot.
There you go.
You bet. And then the third cover, like I said, is Shelby Robertson. So, and what was interesting about that one, in addition to the fact that this is also an homage cover, this is an homage to Punisher #2 by Mike Zeck. When I asked Shelby to do this, he said, I'm going to do this for you, but I'm super busy. So I don't have a lot of time for edits. He said, basically, you get what you get. And I'm thinking, it's Shelby Robertson. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's some, it's like that's professionalism for you. That it's like that no matter what, if they dedicate themselves, if they're going to dedicate themselves to something for you, even when they're saying they're kind of lowering their standards a bit, it doesn't look good.
Me too.
Right.
So I mean that's really professional. It's like we really appreciate that type of professionalism.
Well, Shelby's the kind that'll tell it like it is. He does not mince words. He doesn't sugarcoat anything.
Right.
But on the other hand, he's super genuine, very honest, and he is definitely one of the professional ones in this network of indie comic creators.
So when you came up with the idea for this book, I mean, it's like, now the thing is though, do you think that all your books like there's a certain genre that you enjoy working in, or do you like kind of like playing around with it, and thus kind of like your audience kind of switches a bit?
My main genre is superheroes. This one here, like you said earlier, started out as a Western, and I started out with the idea that it was going to be a full Western book, but because my genre is mostly superheroes, and I think I do better doing that, I wanted to tie this into the superhero connected universe that I'm creating. So in addition to the fact that he becomes the 4-armed projectile reptile, he also is transported forward in time to modern day Los Angeles, like the trailer said. and he meets superheroes and becomes part of the superhero team eventually. So Siamese 2 is going to be called Siamese 2, Trident's New Alliance, and that'll be the team coming together. So Black Eagle, Red Hawk, and Projectile Reptile are likely to be on that team. And then Kitty Hawk has direct ties to Siamese, who are on the screen right now. Siamese will make a cameo in Projectile Reptile. Right. So I'm really trying to tie all these together. In fact, on the spine of Siamese, there's a like a Oriental number 1. And on the spine of Projectile Reptile, there will be a number 2. And basically, that will allude to the fact that that's the reading order of the Dojo-kun comics.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, so it's okay. So it's like, so once everything is done, there's actually, so are you doing everything in order, or like once the trades come out, you're going to specify, okay, if you really want to understand what's going on, this one's first, this one's second?
I am, yes to both. I'm doing it in order. And once they're all out, if they're on your shelf, you'll be able to read them in the order that they're presented and in the order it's meant to be read.
Right. And going back to the whole, like, okay, so you start off as a Western. Now, were you a little concerned that it's like, it was going to like, I only like full superhero books, or, you know, like people who supported you before going, maybe this one, it's like, oh, you get, it's like, and then a druid shows up, and I don't know, man, you know, it's like
wait, there's more.
Yeah, it's like, do you kind of think about like things like demographics and who your niche is, and you know, like who you're selling to, and do you kind of like adjust according to that, or do you just like, okay, this is the story I want to tell, and they get what they get?
It's usually the latter. I try to go just for fun, escapism, entertainment, no agendas, just something that's fun to write. And like we always hear, I'm writing a book that I would like to read.
Right.
So this one here, like you said, it does run the gamut of genres, but it does eventually it ties up to be part of the connected superhero universe, which is what I'm going toward. So really the Western portion of this is his origin story. You know, it's his setup as to why he's such a good gunslinger, where he gets those futuristic guns you see that he's holding in the pinups and all that. So it really is just an origin story to bring him into modern day Los Angeles. And, you know, it's a fish out of water story. There's magic. There's artifacts. I just wanted to make it fun, and running the gamut is on purpose.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And here's the thing too, because it's like, you know, you mentioned, I mean, well, you see, the thing is though, that without getting into, I don't know, certain aspects of it, the whole thing about an agenda driven story, like you like, and I understand like what that means, but you know, I guess to clarify for people, like what is your kind of definition of that, of like a non-agenda driven story? Because we hear that a lot. But what does that mean exactly?
I totally understand the question. So here's the thing. I believe in diversity in comics, both in creators and in the characters. I believe in the diversity of race, religion, orientation, all of that. But that's not, in my opinion, what the story needs to be about.
No.
So basically what I'm saying is I don't have an agenda to teach you about being a black superhero or about being a gay superhero or anything like that. Do they exist in my universe? Absolutely, because I want my universe to be a representation of humanity. So there will be gay heroes, gay villains, black heroes, black villains, etc. It's just because that's people.
Right.
Now, if my hero happens to be a gay man, for example, it's not going to be about his gayness.
Right.
But you might see him go home at the end of superheroing to a male spouse.
Right.
But again, it's just going to be them interacting like, hey, how did you do? And maybe confiding in one another. But that's it. It's not going to be about
go
their
home
sexuality.
and put on his pride robe or anything. And be like, I'm home. Yes, queen.
Exactly.
See, and that's the best explanation I've ever heard. Thank you for that. That was really clear. That was really clear. And
I appreciate that. And, you know, I also think it would be disingenuous for me to try to teach a lesson about being black. I'm not.
Exactly.
I'm not gay, so I wouldn't try to teach that lesson. But I do love to include them to keep my universe diverse.
Yeah. Yeah. And also you had brought up the whole thing about the hero's journey too, which, if you kind of follow discourse on Twitter, which I highly do not recommend, it's like there seems
Daphne,
to be what?
Leave Twitter alone.
Yeah, I know. I know. Curate your experiences, people. Curate your experiences. It's like, so you talk about the hero's journey, and that's something also that it's like I like to mention too, that it's like that this is a hero's journey, and on a certain level I kind of find it strange that we have to like specify that. It's almost like we're saying we're actually telling a story.
Right.
It has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Right, exactly. So it's like, so what led you to like say, okay, hero's journey story is how I want to describe my book? Because it is very specific.
When it came to the Healing Wars, I wanted people to understand that was a complete story arc. The fact that she did that trilogy and I was adapting it to a graphic novel form back in the day, I wanted people to understand that it wasn't going to be a cliffhanger. It wasn't meant to be a completely ongoing series with no end, that the novels as a trilogy were going to be covered by my graphic novels. And I wanted them to understand that within that arc, that whole hero's journey occurs.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's, it's like, I didn't think of it as like, I didn't think of it like that, because it's like I said, the discourse is more like that, that the hero's journey is kind of like an outdated mode of writing. And, and it's like, and I kind of like don't understand, like I never just could understand like why they thought that. But then again, these are the people, I guess the people say that they're very like agenda driven, where it's like in the end, it's to them, it's not about the story. It's about whatever it is they wanted to hyper focus on,
right.
I guess.
Yeah, I totally disagree that the hero's journey is outdated.
Right.
I think the only thing, you just have to make it your own. You have to tell it in a unique way. But the components of the hero's journey are still absolutely applicable.
Yeah. I mean, and and the thing is, though, if anyone looks up the whole thing about the hero's journey, which I think it was Joseph Campbell who had quoted the phrase. I think, I'm not sure, but I know that he referenced it a lot in his work. And what's funny, I think it literally, I think the basis of the hero's journey is literally mythology. So the chart that I usually see references a lot of like magical interference, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. I mean, like any character can have a hero's journey, as long as, I guess, it's beginning, middle, end, and whether the character actually changes. Oh, and that's the thing too, because in Projectile Reptile, I mean, there's a literal change to the character. But I guess like one of the main basis of the hero's journey is whether the character themselves, I guess, as a character, change in the story.
So yeah, in the beginning, remember, he's an infamous gunslinger. So the word infamous implies criminal, right?
Yeah.
Overall, in the Old West, that would be a criminal. So he comes to town. He's already feared and revered when he reveals who he is. And the fact that he later has a badge on already talks about him experiencing some changes. He's he's doing something that's completely outside his wheelhouse. Then he runs afoul of somebody who's magical.
Right.
And so that's something new for him to encounter. Then he's transformed. Then he's sent through time. So he's got all of these things that are, he's experiencing the fish out of water phenomenon repeatedly. So he's going to have to be very adaptive. He's going to have to be a thinking man who thinks on his feet, all 5 of them, or all 6 of them. I mean, he never knows what's next, and he needs to be able to roll with it and experience those changes that you're alluding to.
Right. Yeah. Because again, part of the whole thing is, I don't know. It's like I don't know. I think this is what happens when way too many children, I guess, enter, you know, like think that just because they read an article somewhere, or even like just they're just repeating something someone says that they think is correct. And it's like, again, it's like the whole like, oh, the hero's journey is outdated. You know, like character development is also an issue for them, where it's like, you know, a character has to be good from beginning to end.
Is character development, like,
right? But it's like they can't handle the idea of a villain for some reason, and that's okay. And that's the thing.
Oh yeah, because the villain has to be redeemable. Fuck that nonsense.
Like, what's your take on that? Like your villains. Like, how do you look at your villains? Because it's like, if you have an infamous gunslinger having a hero's journey, how do you look at your villains?
Well, I think that for my villains who truly are villains, they're the kind that I think are irredeemable. They are the kind that, one of the reasons that they're villains is they're going about their life viewpoint. They think they're right, and that actually makes them more villainous, because they're the hero of their own story, no matter how incorrect that is. And now for somebody like the Cactus Kid, his circumstances may have led him to make choices that he otherwise might not have made. So even, you know, in the real world, in my day job, we have policies and procedures in place, and we always say it's in order to help good people avoid bad choices.
Right, yeah.
Because we've had employees who, based on their personal circumstances, made some really bad choices. And unfortunately, we had to let them go, which was bad because some of them were really good employees until that choice was made. So bringing it back to the comic book, the Cactus Kid, he made some choices that made him infamous, but if he may be sympathetic if you look back and see why he made those choices. Whereas some of the real villains in these stories, they're just bad.
Right.
And that's how they started. And whether or not they had a sympathetic origin, I don't know if that matters so much, because a lot of people have had some really bad circumstances and didn't become bad people.
Right.
So a lot of people in bad circumstances choose to be bad. And that's what the villains in my story will be. They're not going to all be sympathetic. Oh, I feel so bad for Kingpin. Oh, Magneto really, you know, I would have been just like Magneto. I don't know.
Maybe not. You know, I know. It's and the thing is though, it's like, and again, it's like, you know, and then it's like kind of knowing, have you ever felt that, you know, like, it's like, oh, I'm going to, like, I think this is my audience, and then kind of realize, oh, wait a minute, no, it's not. You know, and then kind of like make a shift, like a tonal shift, or you just like the people who, you know, it's like I guess it's like, have you ever had anyone in your audience like try to kind of like say, you know, you really shouldn't have done that?
Oh, I see. No, I haven't had anyone say that yet. And I think largely that's because the writers that I try to emulate most are Marv Wolfman on the Teen Titans and Chris Claremont on the X-Men. The reason I say that is those guys did great team characterizations where the teams became friends and then actually became like family. That's the kind of thing I want to do. And that characterization puts a human element into the books. So, all right, back to your question. Because I write superhero books, you know, more often than any others. I have written horror and a couple other genres, but mostly it's superheroes because that was what I read during my formative years. Those are the ones that I loved the most, the ones that I look back on with such fondness, the ones I try to emulate. So as you know, with writing superhero books, I don't think I need to pivot. I just think I need to focus and try to continue to do my best. I don't know if I'll ever hit that gold standard, but I'm going to keep trying.
Well, that's all we can do, right? Yeah, and make sure that the people who, if they do come out of the woodwork to say certain things, to make sure that they're worth listening to, and not just, you know, again, like, you know,
all
just
critique is valuable.
Like,
I mean,
but
if
there's some that aren't really.
Well, you know, there are some that will come at you from just off the wall. On the other hand, still though, you have to understand that they may not be the only one thinking that way. And although you can't please all of the people all of the time, you might start taking even those off the wall ideas into consideration. That doesn't mean you're going to adapt it necessarily, but everybody's input should at least be I don't know, given some consideration.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, it's like I guess that's the diplomatic answer because I'd be like, they're just some people who it's like shouldn't be listened to. I'd just be like that, but I don't know. That's just me. So thank you so much for coming onto the show. So Projectile Reptile, how many days does it have left on Indiegogo?
There's 15 days left in the first 30. And I'm not going to lie, if we're close to funding or get closer, right, I will extend it into the next 30. I'm not going to be like, I'm not sure. I think that's disingenuous. I'm going to the next 30. I'd really like to get this funded. And once it is, of course, I'll go into in demand.
Right. Okay. Right. So there you go. I mean, in the end, all you're doing is taking advantage of an option that Indiegogo gives you. So might as well take,
might as well do it. Right.
Might as well. Right. So
the fulfillment, projected fulfillment for this is February of 2023.
Oh, there you go. So you're on. You at least have a schedule for that as well. So there you have it. So the links will be in the show notes below. So head on over to Indiegogo and support Projectile Reptile. So yes, and everybody expect to be watching that bop of a video for the campaign for the next 30 days.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate
I really do enjoy that video. Really do. So aside from Indiegogo, where else can everybody find you?
On Twitter, I'm at Dojo-kun Comics. My website, where you can see my entire library and get them print to order, is dojokuncomics.wixsite.com/Dojo-kun Comics.
No, that's a mouthful. So we're going to put a link to that as well.
Yeah, please do. And then I'm also on Facebook. My followers, though, are maxed out, but that doesn't mean you can't see what I'm doing if you just pull up my pages.
Okay, but I guess so they not to send you friend requests, but I guess they can still follow your page and on its own. Okay, so there you go. So you can all do that. So Nita, any final words for Senior Dojo before we go?
I'm updating the show notes.
Oh, there we go. So
this project is awesome, and I really loved having you here. And that was your explanation just blew me away. Thank you.
So there you go. So it's educational for everybody. So
it's like I was tripping over trying to explain my take on agenda the other day, and I ended up getting pissy, and I was like, I said some ugly kind of stuff, and it's like, this is what I meant to say. God,
there you go. Because Dojo is the diplomat, Like,
there you go.
There we go. So he knows how to
diplomat.
So if you want to see more of my own work and more of my all the campaigns that I'm running and all that fun stuff, you can head on over to my portfolios, my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. You can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites, but I mostly post to Facebook. Don't send me friend requests either. Just follow it because I'm really bad at friend requests. So I'm really bad at keeping track of that. So, but you can follow. All the posts are public, so I'm not. There's nothing private on there, so we can all have fun together. Well, with or without a friend request. And you can also check out all my videos on how I do my comics and everything on YouTube at Daphne Lage, Lage Art, which again is also simulcast through the Indie Comics Network. So again, subscribe, like, share. Hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever we go live. You can also read the first 5 issues of Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn in its original black and white format. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a Lord of the Rings type of furry adventure, you can follow the links to Tall Tales, TAILSonline.com, and read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free. And while you're there, sign up for my newsletter where you will get updates on all the campaigns that I have coming up. There's always a campaign running, so if you want to stay updated with everything, that's the easiest way to do it. So Nita, where can everybody find you?
Oh God. Okay. You can find me on Twitter at C_chaos247, on Facebook as Nita Lanning, and anywhere you find the Ragin 2 banner, Indie Comics Network on YouTube, and Indie Comics Promotions on Facebook.
There you go. So I want to thank everybody in the chat for keeping it real, keeping it moving. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank the 13 people watching us from regions beyond. Thank you for joining us for this hour. You could have been anywhere else, but you decided to listen to us ramble for a bit. So thank you so much. And I hope that you found it entertaining. And I hope you go visit Dojo's Indiegogo and support Projectile Reptile, because it's a fun book. And you need.
She can't even say it without smiling. Every
I know
time.
it is. Yeah, it's one of those titles. It's one of those really great titles, I have to admit. Because also you need that chibi magnet. So there's probably still a couple more backers that can still get that. So go ahead and support the campaign. And on that note, I want to thank everybody for joining us on another fantastic Monday. And in the words of the ancients, what is it? It's like, eat your food, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, and do the work, because when you actually do the work, you don't have to fake anything. You really don't. You never have to fake anything. So on that note, we'll see you on Friday for another episode of the Ragin to the Vlogs at 11 a.m. Eastern. So see you later.
All right, stay tuned for Indie Rush at 12:30. Peace out.
Bye.